the roots and the remedies of selfishness. See, I like selfness better than self-fish-ness. We need to get this kind of fish out of the picture. Selfness, big self, is super secure in itself. Big self, the deep inner you, the true you, that element of you that is one with the totality of all the laws of nature, is capital S, self. Selfness. Now, we want selfness. We want that infinitely capable, infinitely secure, that which feels invincible, invulnerable, to come into contact with all the demands of the world. Now, what is this fish thing? Self-fish-ness, fishiness. Well, it means insecurity. Selfishness is the hoarding mentality. The I, the small self, have to look after me, the small self, because mine, meaning what it is that I can count as my capabilities and my attributes and my assets, are all limited. And what if, a thought of constant disaster coming, expect the worst, and then if anything good comes, then, you have a good experience. If bad things come, then it's not so bad because you expected the worst all the time. And this is somebody who is selfish. Selfish means that they are guarding the small self against disaster. Hoarding time, hoarding experience, looking after the small self, making sure that individuality is not only served but overserved. Overabundantly it's served. And then there is a lack of generosity of spirit and generosity of outward flow of any goods or services or products or anything. And so then how do we know somebody who is grossly insecure? We know that because of selfishness. We know that because they are self-centered. We know that because they are even narcissistic. Narcissism doesn't have to do with conceit, by the way. Not all narcissists are conceited. And in fact, most narcissists think very little of themselves. They are afraid to have a deep look at their personal role or take any responsibility for what they're experiencing. And so they have to export the interests of all others to the periphery and make sure that their individuality is well served. And so, what is a selfish person? A person who might make a commitment but not honor it because, frankly, inside themselves they're terrified. They're terrified because their self-examination of their assets, of their capabilities, of their inner qualities is they discover that by their own assessment they're impoverished, and so they have to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and acquire and acquire and acquire and there's no amount is ever enough until they have made sure, doubly sure, triply sure, quadruply sure that there's never going to be a moment where they have run out of anything. This is great insecurity. So selfish people are insecure people. How do you get secure? How do you stop being selfish? You become selfness. You experience the true inner deep self, which has everything. It is the field of pure abundance. It can bring forth any capability, any experience, any time, day or night. The true self, capital S self, is the unified field. It's the totality field. And I am that. I am the totality field. When one has that experience during Vedic meditation, of settling down into the least excited state, one's consciousness is identifying with the unbounded field of pure potentiality. All thoughts that possibly can come in the human mind come from that place. All the streams of energy and intelligence come from that place, which is my own deep inner nature. This is what one experiences during Vedic meditation. My own deep inner nature, the unbounded unified field of consciousness, is the source of everything, all abundance, all capability. So I don't have to be a kind of stingy hoarder of emotion, or a stingy hoarder of objects, or a stingy hoarder of time. I can have generosity of spirit, generosity. I am deeply secure because I know what I am, and it's fabulous, it's unbounded. And so then selfishness disappears and it turns into selfness. And selfness is a wonderful, noble, regal quality of generosity, ease, and grace, and not freaked out, not insecure, not desperate. Stingy selfishness is a state of desperation. It's a pitiful state. It's pathetic. It's a pathetic state. Selfish people have turned themselves into spectacles of pathos. It's pathetic. And they need to come out of that, because it makes nature scream when someone behaves like that. It's like someone who actually is the progeny, the child of a multi-billionaire. And they have in their back pocket an iPhone that has an account on it that has access to $1 billion. But they're walking around looking for pennies on the ground and, gathering a few pennies in their pocket and behaving as if, they're going to be in dire straits any moment. And in fact, they have access to anything. And, so when somebody behaves like a pauper, when actually they have infinite capability, it's a shame to nature. And it makes nature scream when we behave in that desperado fashion of being stingy and withholding and all of that, because what about me? What about me? What about me? And this is the small me talking, the I, me, mine talking, I, me, mine. What about me? Did I ever tell you about me? What about my illness? What about my incapability? What about my, there's a constant inventory of all kinds of things that are about to go wrong or could go wrong, or how much time and energy and effort they put into everything, and nobody seemed to ever respond in kind, and so they have to be selfish. And if you were me, you'd just be as selfish as me, because it's really hard being me. It's also ridiculous. Hard being me. Actually, your totality consciousness. Live it. But in order to live it, you can't just think thoughts about it. You have to actually experience it. And this is where Vedic meditation comes into the picture. Regular twice daily practice of Vedic meditation should eliminate all of that stingy selfishness and turn us into someone who has massive generosity of spirit. We feel invulnerable, invincible. We feel infinitely capable. Abundance is abundance of capability. And we can bring about anything, anytime, anywhere. No problems. That's the meditator consciousness state. Jai Gurudev.